jungle.
This AI-rendered representation of the proceedings in the United States versus Sean Combs is based on the official court transcripts.
Please be seated. Mr. Phillip, you understand that you are still under oath, and so we're going to take a 10-minute break, but you're not to have any discussions whatsoever of any kind with anyone on the government side or anyone who's in the back, no one. You can stare at some of the artwork in the hall.
Your Honor, may I just clarify? May the agents escort him to the room where he's going to be without having any conversations.
That's fine. You had an inquiry?
I was going to ask for a restroom break.
Yeah, and there's a restroom you can be directed to. But other than that, please do not speak with anyone. All right, we will be back at 4:20.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, we're back.
Your Honor, I apologize for the delay. The witness had to go to a different floor to go to the restroom, and so we're waiting. We're waiting for him to come back.
That's okay.
I did not go to avoid having the appearance of me having any communications with him.
It's okay. I assume it will be just a couple of minutes.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
I assume it will be just a couple of minutes.
Sounds like he's back.
All right.
So we'll ask him to come back to the stand.
Mr. Courtroom Deputy, let's get our jury back.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, please be seated. Welcome back, members of the jury. I hate to do this to you since you just came back, but can I have the lawyers and the court reporter for a sidebar? All right. When I thought that the witness had asked for water, he had actually asked if he could have a word with his attorney.
Oh,
To which I said no. I felt it was prudent to let everyone know that he had made that request and that I had said no, to see if there was any reaction from the parties or anything to do at this time.
Your Honor, generally, when a witness for the defense or government asks to speak with the attorney, I think it's prudent to give them an opportunity to, though I don't want to waste time. The attorney is in the courtroom. Can I go confer with her briefly?
You may.
Thank you. I don't know if the defense has a position.
I don't, but I agree. Generally, in my experience, when a witness does ask to speak to their attorney, we oblige them to let them do that just in case something is about to come up we don't know about. We don't object to that at all.
That's why I called the sidebar. Let's consult with the attorney and do it right now.
I'm happy to do it right now.
We'll wait.
Thank you, Your Honor. So the witness's attorney said that she had the opportunity to confer with the witness briefly during break and that nothing came up that concerned her. So she would not request an opportunity to speak with the witness right now. So given the attorney's views, I'm happy to proceed. If the witness expresses concerns again, then perhaps we can take a break.
All right. Is that any different view from the defense?
No.
Let's proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Phillip, you understand you're still under oath?
Yes.
Mr. Donaldson, you may proceed.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm going to ask you to speak up into that microphone so that the last person in this jury can hear you, if that's okay.
That's fine.
Thank you. I'm going to ask you a few questions. If you don't understand a question, just let me know, and I'll rephrase the question.
No problem.
Very good. All right. Putting up Government Exhibit B324 just for the parties. Mr. Phillip, I'm showing you what's been previously marked as Government Exhibit B324. Do you see that?
Yes.
Is that a text message chain between you and Cassie?
Yes.
And does it relate to the time period that you have been testifying about?
Yes.
That would be fair to say it's pretty accurate about the text messages you had between yourself and Cassie Ventura.
Yes.
I could move this into evidence as Government Exhibit B324, or we can make it a defense exhibit.
No objection to making it a government exhibit, Your Honor. We were planning to offer this at a later time.
All right. The exhibit will be admitted.
Thank you. You can take that down for me. Thank you, Mr. Phillip. I want to ask you a few questions. I want to start off with, you mentioned that you were working for a service back in 2011, 2012, 2013. Do you recall that?
I was working for a mail review show. I don't know if I was there 2011.
When did you get there?
I would be estimating, but somewhere between 2011 and 2012.
Right. Let's estimate 2011. So you were working for this exotic mail service between, around 2011. When did you stop?
I would be estimating, but probably somewhere between 2014 or 2015.
And this mail service that you were working for, you were a manager or a supervisor. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And this mail service was a business for male strippers for women. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And this mail service allowed or could hire strippers to go out to locations or to a show to perform for primarily women. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And this mail service specifically did not involve prostitution, correct?
That is correct.
In fact, this mail service specifically prohibited prostitution, correct?
That is correct.
And as a supervisor, you were aware of that, correct?
That is correct.
And also, the supervisor, I believe you helped to make the company run smoothly. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And you helped develop this company. Is that right? You helped?
That is correct.
Okay, sorry. Let me repeat that. You did help develop the company, correct?
That is correct.
Around 2011, 2012, the company was really just getting started, correct?
That is not correct.
But it was your job as supervisor to help develop it and get it more popular?
Yes and no.
Well, yes, now.
Objection, Your Honor.
Yes, we don't need. The jury should disregard counsel's last statement, and there should be no statements. There should just be questions.
Was your job to help secure and build up the mail review for the show?
Yes.
And in doing so, your job was to help the company develop its business model, correct?
Yes.
And advertising helped the company grow as well, correct?
Yes.
You were aware, or are you aware, this service you worked for back in 2011, 2012, 2013 used fake businesses to help the business grow, correct?
I am not aware of that.
Can I have 1 second, please, Your Honor? Are you aware that the company helped open fake businesses to optimize searches?
I am not aware of that. You're asking that question not in the right way. If you would like me to specify, I will.
Did the company that you worked for open fake businesses to optimize searches?
I don't know if they were actual fake businesses, but they used fake addresses to optimize the searches.
And when you say the company used fake addresses to optimize searches, you were aware of that, correct?
Yes.
And you participated in that?
No.
When you became aware that the business that you were helping to develop was optimizing or using fake addresses to make the business grow, you resigned, correct?
No.
You continued working for the business?
Yes.
So you worked for a business that you knew was using fake addresses to help it grow.
Yes.
And you did that knowing that was, fraudulent.
I did not know that that was fraudulent. I just knew that my boss told me how he works with the search engine optimization and that he uses fake addresses to build with that. I had no idea what that meant. That wasn't my part of the business.
And while you were a supervisor, you were aware that this service provided the ultimate ladies' night experience. Is that correct?
That was their slogan.
Right. That was your business, your service that you worked for. Their slogan was to provide an ultimate ladies' night experience. Correct?
Yes.
And your business that you worked for also prohibited prostitution. Correct?
Yes.
Then when you met with Cassie Ventura on that first day, you were not going for prostitution. Correct?
Correct.
You were going to optimize the ladies' experience. Correct?
I have no idea what that means.
You have no idea what the company slogan that you worked for means?
In regards to me going there to optimize the ladies' experience, I don't know what you're referring to. Can you be specific with your question?
Yes. The company slogan was to provide the ultimate ladies' night experience, correct?
That was the company's slogan, yes.
You worked for the company, correct?
Correct. Yes, I did.
The company sent you to a lady that night, correct?
Yes, they did.
So you were going there to do the ultimate ladies' night experience, correct?
I certainly was going there to give a great experience, yes.
For a ladies' night, for a lady, correct?
For a bachelorette party is what I thought it was, correct.
1 second, Judge. I believe you testified earlier that Cassie told you when you arrived at the hotel to say the name Black. Is that correct?
Yes.
And that's what Cassie told you, correct?
Yes.
Now, you testified on direct that I believe you said that, well, bless you. For this first-time meeting with Cassie, you got a call from your boss. Is that correct?
I don't know if I got a call from him or if I called him, but we did have a conversation after that, yes.
And you said on direct that the boss told you that somebody wanted to use a black male stripper, correct?
That was what my boss told me upon going down to the hotel.
Okay. Your boss told you that someone called the service wanting a black male stripper, correct? Yes or no?
Yes, that is correct.
And the boss told you that, according to you, that there was no other black male strippers available, correct?
Correct.
And so he called you because you're a black male, correct?
Correct.
But you're not a stripper, correct?
I'm not.
You were not a stripper at this time, correct?
No.
You were not a dancer at that time, were you?
I occasionally would do it when we needed help.
So, and you said your boss told you to go to Gramercy Hotel.
Correct.
Sir, isn't it actually a fact that Cassie Ventura called you on that first incident and told you to come to the Gramercy Hotel?
That is incorrect.
Isn't it a fact that Cassie told you to come to the Gramercy Hotel and ask for a person named Black?
Later on. But not to the Gramercy Park Hotel, no.
Isn't it true that Cassie called you on the phone and told you that I'm celebrating something for my birthday and my husband wants to give me something special? Isn't that correct?
That is not correct. Would you like me?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Sir, could you put up 3501, 357001 for the parties only? Could you go to page 2, please? Mr. Phillip, isn't it true that you spoke to law enforcement officers?
Your Honor, this shouldn't be up on the screen, I believe, while Mr. Donaldson is asking these questions.
Take it off. Take it off first. Is it true that you spoke to a law enforcement officer on December 18th, 2023 about this matter?
I don't know if that was the day, but I did speak with law enforcement agents about this matter, yes.
In December 2023, correct?
I don't recall if that was the day.
But not the exact day, but did you speak to them in December of 2023? How about that?
I believe so, yes.
And when you spoke to them on December 2023, they asked you questions about this incident, correct?
Correct.
They asked you questions about your relationship with Cassie Ventura, correct?
Correct.
And they asked you about you meeting with her, correct?
Correct.
And they asked you about you meeting with her on the first occasion, correct?
Correct.
And you gave them answers to those questions, correct?
Correct.
They asked you questions about how you met with her, correct?
Correct.
And the details about how you met with her, correct?
Correct.
And isn't it true on December 2023, when you met with these officers, you told them that you spoke on the phone with the client, a woman, and was told to report to the Gramercy Park Hotel at 3 o'clock in the morning and tell the front desk, you're there to see somebody named Mr. Black? Did you not tell them back in December 2023?
They may have written the notes that way, but that is not what I told them, because that's not how that happened. No.
You're saying the agents that you spoke to may have written the notes. Strike that. Could we put this up the screen now?
Just for the parties.
Just for the parties. Just for the parties.
All right.
Mr. Phillip, I'm showing you a document from December 18th, 2023. There is a part highlighted at the top.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on this particular day, is it not true that you spoke to the officers, the agents, and told them that you spoke on the phone to the client, a woman, and was told to report to the Gramercy Park Hotel at 3 o'clock in the morning and tell the front desk he was there to see Mr. Black?
Correct.
So you did speak to a woman. She told you that, correct?
I did not speak with Cassie, no. Not that day. Not before I went to the hotel the first time, so that may have been misunderstood.
Now, when you got to the hotel room, I believe you said, according to you on your direct, you arrived at the front door and I believe you knocked on the door. Is that fair to say?
Correct.
When you knocked on the door, someone answered the door. Is that fair to say?
Correct.
This person that answered the door was a beautiful woman. Would that be fair to say?
Correct.
And you recall that in your mind there was a beautiful woman opening the door, correct?
Correct.
And she was wearing a wig at that point, correct?
Correct.
And at that point, prior to you, well, strike that. You hadn't talked to her about money, correct? You didn't talk to her about how much you would get paid for coming there, correct?
She brought it up to me.
So when you knocked on her door, Cassie brought up to you something about money, correct?
Correct.
And that is before you had sex.
Correct.
So then, at that point, Cassie gave you money, correct?
Yes, correct. Correct.
So as soon as you knocked on the door, she opened the door, you had a conversation about what?
You're asking me.
Yes, when you opened,
Sure.
you knocked on the door, right?
Sure.
Is that right?
That's correct.
She opened the door, correct?
Correct.
You saw a beautiful woman there, correct?
She, as in Cassie, right?
Yes.
Yes, correct.
And then, now, let's get the image right. You were in the hallway, correct?
Yes, correct.
She's in the door, correct?
Correct.
And at that moment, she hands you money.
She invites me into the hotel room. I go into the room. She closes the door behind me. And then she says to me, your boss told me that I have to give you $200 upon your arrival here. And I said, correct. And then she handed me about $4,000 or somewhere around that, in that ballpark.
4,000.
Roughly.
And this is before any oil rubbing, correct?
Yes, correct.
Before any hugging, is that correct?
That is correct.
Before any kissing, is that correct?
Correct.
This is before an agreement about what you're going to do, correct?
Correct.
So before you had an agreement about sex and an agreement about rubbing oil, agreement about my husband being pleasured, Cassie Ventura just handed you $4,000 in cash?
First off, we never had an agreement about sex.
We'll get to that. Before you have any agreements about anything, Cassie Ventura hands you $4,000?
That is correct.
Now, she was standing in, I believe you said, lingerie.
Correct.
She had on heels, correct?
Correct.
She was just lingerie, heels, and wig, correct?
And a pair of dark glasses.
And a pair of dark glasses?
Correct.
Where did the money come from?
Are you asking me who gave me the money?
No. I'm asking, when she was standing at the door with lingerie on, panties, bra, heels, wig, and shades, was she holding a bag of money?
She had the money in her hand. It was...
She had the money in her hand?
Yes.
She opened the door with the money in her hand?
Yes.
And at that point, I believe you said you looked to the... Well, strike that. After you got the money, then you looked to the right and saw a man sitting in the chair.
That is incorrect.
You looked to the left and saw the man sitting in the chair.
After she handed me the money, we walked into the room fully past the hall, past the little hallway that was there, toward the couch that was in front of us with the candles and everything on it. And I looked to the left, and on the right side of the room, if I'm facing Mr. Combs, Mr. Combs was sitting in the chair with a robe on, hat, and a bandana over his face.
Okay, and at that point, you're past the hallway, you're standing... Are you standing near the couch?
I'm sorry?
Are you standing near a couch?
There's a couch in front of me, yes.
And you're standing near this couch, and Mr. Combs, you're saying, is to your left, or to your right?
If I'm facing the couch?
Oh, yes.
Mr. Combs would be in the room to the left. The living room is to the left of me. Once I turn left and face forward toward the open room, Mr. Combs would be sitting on the right side of the room in the back of the room.
All right, and I believe you said on direct he wasn't saying anything, correct?
At that moment, no.
Now, while you were standing there with Cassie, and after you received the money, you were going to start rubbing baby oil on her, correct?
Correct.
She began rubbing baby oil on you, correct?
Correct.
And this is while she still had on her lingerie, correct?
At that point, at some point, our clothes were off. She wasn't rubbing baby oil on me with my clothes on.
Let's walk through it.
Sure.
So, you get in there, I'm sorry, I forget this part. You were wearing a New York City Police Department shirt, correct?
That's correct.
And you were wearing that shirt because your boss told you that the person in the hotel wanted you to be wearing a New York City police officer uniform, correct?
Yes, if you don't...
Yes or no?
If you don't mind, could you please talk into the microphone? I can hardly hear you when you step away.
I'm sorry, your boss told you that you, the dancer, needed to be wearing a New York City Police Department uniform, correct?
That is correct.
You couldn't find one, correct?
That is correct.
So you went out and bought a t-shirt.
Yes.
And then you went to Gramercy Hotel wearing the New York City Police Department t-shirt.
Correct.
When you got inside the hotel, after you got the money, you had to take that off to get the oil rubbed on you, correct?
That's correct.
And you took the oil off in front of Cassie, or you went someplace else to do that?
I took the oil off.
I'm sorry, you took the shirt off in front of Cassie?
I took my clothes off in front of Cassie, yes.
So at the moment you got the money, you then took off all your clothes, correct?
At the moment I got the money, I did not take off all of my clothes.
After you got the money, you had a conversation first.
She walked me into the hotel room, and then after she had already explained me, hey, listen, it's my birthday. I want, to do this instead of the dance, the bachelorette party. I want you to rub baby oil on me, rub me down, give me a massage, and wherever things go from there, whatever you're comfortable with, we can do. And so I told her I was comfortable with giving her that massage and rubbing her down, and I asked her if she wanted me to be the same, like to remove my clothes as well, and so I stripped down as well to my underwear.
Okay, so you stripped down to your underwear?
Correct?
And at that point okay, now you have your underwear on, and at that point, she is rubbing baby oil on you?
I'm rubbing her down, and then she starts doing the same to me, and it started getting intimate, and we...
Stop right there.
Sure.
When you say it started to get intimate, you mean that you're rubbing her down, you're rubbing her breasts, you're rubbing her whole body down, correct?
After she started touching me, yes, I started touching her erotically as well.
And at that point, Mr. Combs in the corner, he's not saying anything, correct?
No, he was in the corner masturbating immediately.
Okay, and while Cassie is rubbing you down, it appears that she is enjoying herself. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
And you are rubbing her down and you are enjoying yourself, correct?
Yes.
And then that's why you're saying you became it started getting intimate, correct?
Correct.
Because you started getting sexually aroused, correct?
Absolutely, yes.
And it appeared to you that she was getting sexually aroused, correct?
Yes.
And it appeared to you that she wanted more than just a rub down, correct?
Yes.
And at some point, she took off your underwear, correct?
I took off my underwear.
You took off your underwear, correct?
Correct.
And after you took off your underwear, I imagine at that point she is still rubbing you down, correct?
We're rubbing each other down.
Well, we'll get to that. She was rubbing you down after you took off your underwear, correct?
Correct.
And she started massaging your penis, correct?
I don't recall, the particulars of how that happened. I just know we ended up happening sex.
Okay, so you didn't have sex standing up, correct?
No.
So after you're standing up rubbing each other down, you then move to another part of the room, correct?
We basically were where we had sex the whole time. We were by the couch. We had sex on the couch.
Okay, so after you were standing up, you then laid her down on the couch. Is that fair to say?
Correct.
And then sexual intercourse occurred for, I believe you said, not believe, for approximately 30 minutes, correct?
No. The first time, that was probably the most beautiful woman I had seen. That was fast.
So when you say the most beautiful woman you've seen, that caused you to ejaculate fast.
Yeah.
And then after you did that, strike that. Were you on top of her or behind her at this point?
I have no idea what time frame during this you're referring to. This could be at any point in the interaction.
On the first,
You're talking about...
time you had sexual intercourse with Cassie Ventura.
Sure.
In the Gramercy Hotel, after you received the $2,000, were you on top of her, behind her? What happened?
Are you asking when I ejaculated?
Yes,
What position I had her in?
I asked that.
It was a missionary position.
Okay, so after the missionary position, you got up and then you decided to leave, correct?
I was told that we were done, and I could get dressed now. I didn't just decide to leave.
Now, at that point in time, because you were still working for the service, you knew you were not engaging in prostitution, correct?
I didn't know what the hell just happened. I was in complete shock and just was like, did that just happen? I wouldn't have thought twice to think that that was prostitution.
Okay, and then you left the hotel, correct?
Correct.
And then within 5 minutes, you got a phone call from Cassie, correct?
That is correct.
And at that time, Cassie asked you, could you come back and have another orgasm, correct?
Correct.
And you said absolutely, correct?
Correct.
And she said, give me 30 minutes to take a shower, correct?
No, I don't recall that.
You don't recall what?
I don't recall her saying, give me 30 minutes to take a shower.
Okay,
It's possible she said that. I don't recall, though.
okay. She also asked you to send her a picture of your penis, correct?
That is correct.
And she also informed you that you had the largest penis she had ever seen before, correct?
That is correct.
And she had said that to you also while you were having sex with her the first time, correct?
That is correct.
So go back to the first time. So the first time you were having sex with her, you were not only aroused at her beauty, she was aroused at the size of your penis, correct?
Objection, Your Honor.
I can't say that.
That's sustained.
She was commenting to you on the size of your penis, correct?
Yes.
While you were having sex the first time, correct?
Yes.
And then after you left the hotel, she texted you asking you for a picture of your penis, correct?
Correct.
Relating to her conversation before, when she was talking about the size of your penis, correct?
I cannot speculate that. I have no idea if Sean Combs asked her for that picture or not.
Objection. Move to strike.
Hold on, that motion is granted. The jury should disregard the witness's last answer. Mr. Donaldson, we're at 5 o'clock. If you have one more or two more questions, I'm happy to hear them, but otherwise, we can start again in the morning.
We can start again in the morning, Judge.
Thank you, members of the jury, for your time today. We are ending right at 5 p.m. as promised. So again, I'm going to tell you this every day. Do not talk to each other about the case. Do not look up anything about this case. Do not try to talk to anyone outside this courtroom about the case. And definitely do not talk to anyone here about this case. No one inside the courtroom or outside of the courtroom is to have any discussion with members of the jury whatsoever. With that, have a great evening. We'll see you here at 9:15. If you're here at 9:15, we can get started on time and make efficient use of our time together. All right, all rise. Mr. Phillip, you understand that you are still under oath, so be back here tomorrow to resume your testimony. You are not to have any communications whatsoever with anyone on the government's side. Now, is there...
May I note a request of exception to that? Agents are providing for his security, transportation from court and to court again tomorrow. They have been instructed not to discuss his testimony or the case, and only the logistics of transportation. Is that acceptable, Your Honor?
That is acceptable. Any objection from the defense? I'm not hearing any.
No, Your Honor.
Okay, so except for that, no other discussions of any kind. Are they here to escort him?
They are here to escort him. The case agent can escort him out.
Your Honor, before you let the witness go,
Can we raise an issue at the sidebar?
Yes.
I apologize, Your Honor. I was not at the sidebar, so we weren't able to communicate with one another about the issue of whether the witness could speak to his lawyer during cross-examination. And we would request that Your Honor direct him not to do so under Perry v. Leak, 488 U.S. 272. It's clear that this is a case involving actually the defendant as a witness, in which the Supreme Court held that even a defendant, who obviously has the right to counsel, may be instructed not to meet with his lawyer to discuss the substance of his testimony during his testimony. And that's true for all the reasons everyone understands that having to do with the truth-seeking function of the trial. So we would request that this witness and other government witnesses be directed not to speak to anyone about the substance of their testimony, including their counsel, during the trial.
Your Honor, I think that case is distinguishable because a defendant in a criminal case, their counsel would be counsel for an opposing party. So that would be the justification for that restriction. I'm not aware of any case law justifying telling a third party who is represented by counsel but does not represent a party in the litigation that they cannot communicate with their counsel. I have not had the opportunity to research this issue.
I would be happy to read quotes from the case. The court explains that when it talks about the rights of the defendant and why it says neither he nor his lawyer have a right to have the testimony interrupted in order to give him the benefit of counsel's advice. The reason for the rule, this is at page 281, is that one that applies to all witnesses, not just defendants. It is a common practice for a judge to instruct the witness not to discuss his or her testimony with third parties until the trial is completed. Such non-disclosures orders are corollary of the broader rule that witnesses may be sequestered to lessen the danger that their testimony would be influenced by hearing what other witnesses have to say, and to increase the likelihood they will confine themselves to truthful statements based on their own recollection. And then the court goes on to talk about the defendant, and when he assumes the role of a witness, the rule is that generally apply to other witnesses, rules that serve the truth-seeking function. Do you want me to just show it to you, Judge?
Yes.
Sorry.
Sorry, this is old school.
Your Honor, I'll just note that the distinction I think here is that this counsel does not represent a third party. The counsel represents him. So again, I have not read the case.
Is his attorney here?
May I go get her and invite her to join us?
Yes.
I will say also that I have had other cases in which this has come up, and other trial judges have issued this type of direction. If anything, the defendant's rights, one would think, to consult with his counsel would be that of a greater witness who is not a party to the case.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Could you identify yourself for the record?
My name is Gina Parlavecchio, Parlovecchio.
Were you planning to have any discussions with your client between this evening and tomorrow when his testimony resumes?
No, Your Honor.
Is there any issue with him not having any communications with you?
Not that I'm aware of.
Problem solved for now. We can actually address this issue in a more deliberate fashion.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So, I'll give him an instruction here that he's not to have any discussions with you, and we'll pick the issue up tomorrow.
Sound good.
Thank you very much. Mr. Phillip,
Yes.
when I said you're not to have any discussions with anyone else, that also includes your lawyer. So you're not to have any discussions with your lawyer or with any counsel for the government, anyone from the government side, with the only exception being that you are obviously going to be escorted by the folks at the agency. So, do you understand that?
Yes.
All right.
Your Honor, would it be permissible for his lawyer to explain to him why, or for Your Honor to explain to him why he can't speak with his lawyer? I think this might be new information to the witness, and I want him to understand why.
Well, I'm giving him the instruction.
Thank you.
The reason is that while you're testifying, it's like you're here in the courtroom and your testimony is continuing. And the reason why we tell witnesses that they are not allowed to speak to other people is you might just be able to figure this out. It's so that you don't have discussions that might influence your testimony and that might change your testimony in a way that would be kind of change the facts up, which would be prejudicial once you've started testifying. In the usual course, we always tell people, don't have discussions with anyone about your testimony while it's ongoing. That's the reason why I'm giving you that instruction. Do you understand, or do you have any questions?
I understand. No, but I had asked you prior.
You started it. You asked me. It was a good question. I'm glad you asked that question. If other questions like that come up, you can definitely raise them with me.
Sure.
We had an inquiry and a discussion, and that's what led to this instruction. No problem. I appreciate you doing that. No problem. See you here at 9:30, and you can leave the stand at this time. Mr. Donaldson, again, just a ballpark. What are you envisioning for time duration of your cross-examination?
Probably an hour. Sorry? An hour.
An hour?
Yes.
We'll have an hour of cross-examination.
Don't hold me to that. Hopefully an hour.
I'm going to loosely hold you to that.
Very good.
One of the benefits of having ended in the middle of your cross-examination is it gives you the evening to tighten things up so that you can do it in a more efficient and effective manner. Ms. Comey, I assume, will have some redirect, so we'll be in a position to move forward with Ms. Ventura in the morning.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Anything further that the government would like to raise at this time?
I think we wanted to ask if we can come back tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. to address potential evidentiary issues that might come up during Ms. Ventura's testimony. I think the parties are still meeting and conferring about some exhibits and hoping to resolve them, but there may be some that we can't resolve. And so we are hoping to come back tomorrow morning to raise those with Your Honor so that we don't have to cover them while she's on the stand.
Absolutely. When are we going to hear about what the issues are tonight?
May I defer to Ms. Johnson, Your Honor?
Is 8 o'clock doable or 10 o'clock? I'll give you those two. I'm negotiating against myself, which is bad. But 10 o'clock?
I think 10 o'clock should be acceptable, Your Honor. We're talking about some rule of completeness issues, and hopefully we'll be able to resolve those with the court without the court's intervention.
All right.
We'll advise the court by 10 p.m.
That's fine. So, we'll be here at 9 to deal with any outstanding issues that may come up during Ms. Ventura's testimony. Anything further from the government?
No, Your Honor. We're going to research the issue that Ms. Shapiro raised, and if we have any contrary law, we'll raise it to Your Honor.
Have the parties discussed Rule 615 and the exclusion of witnesses? Has that come up?
I believe that we emailed Your Honor. There was some email traffic with Your Honor's chambers about that. I believe the parties agreed witnesses would be removed from the courtroom until their testimony is complete.
And is it just the courtroom, or does that include access to transcripts?
I think it includes access to transcripts, Your Honor.
All right. So is there an agreement there, Mr. Agnifilo?
Yes, there is an agreement, Your Honor.
I'll count on the parties to police that, and if there are any issues, let me know.
Yes, Your Honor.
The only other thing to raise, and then I'll turn to Mr. Agnifilo, is that I think the overflow feed is an overhead view of the counsel tables. I don't believe it's close enough to see what you're doing. Just be mindful of that when you're working. If you're writing really big, there is a chance at least someone might see it. I'm just doing that for your benefit, but I think it should be okay. The other thing for everyone else is that there should be no attempt, especially within this courthouse in any way, shape, or form, to depict or otherwise make attempts to identify any of the jurors. If that happens, there will be serious consequences, so don't do it. All right, Mr. Agnifilo?
The one issue that I raised earlier, I think it's beneficial for all witnesses that we continue the way we have handled the last witness today. In other words, the witness comes, gets in the witness chair, is ready to go, and then we bring the jury in. So I would just like to continue the way we've gone with this witness. That's my request.
Well, we'll be doing that, but just as we did with both of these witnesses, when they came into the courtroom, they walked in. So that is what we will be doing with the remaining witnesses, unless you have some authority that suggests different treatment is appropriate in this context. Now, when we break for lunch and we come back from lunch, the witness will be seated, just as we did with Mr. Phillip and with Mr. Flores.
If I do find, I haven't had the chance. If I find authority before 10 o'clock tonight, that will be the witching hour for all purposes.
I'm trying to make sure everyone gets rest. If I don't put a deadline in, it will be 2 o'clock in the morning. All right. Anything further?
Nothing from us.
Sorry. This is sort of obvious, but just with regard to the Rule 615, experts are excluded. So we've been assuming we can share transcripts with experts.
Yes. All right, we are adjourned. See you tomorrow.
Thank you, Your Honor.